Hello everyone, and welcome back to another review. Today we're looking at set number 89112, Toa Mahri. Good old Hewkii Mahri. I feel like you have to say Hewkii. I forgot. I keep on doing this. Literally. Every time. The last, 4 times in a row I've made a video. Alright, we should be better. I keep on using my device audio and not headset audio. I don't know why I do that, literally every time. But yeah, if you couldn't hear me before, Toa Mahri, 8912. He's from 2007. He has approx 47-ish pieces. A lot of those pieces are bullets and stuff, so around 40-ish. Here he is. Now, I'm not going to do a build video for him for one of mostly 2 reasons. One, I just got him and I'm fat and lazy. Second of all, he actually has some hairline fractures in his joints, so you can see there's a little bit of a crack there. So if I were to disassemble him and then reassemble him, it would risk damaging his body, which we don't want. At least, in my opinion, I don't want all of my Bionicle figures to break. So why don't we just get into it? Well, and third-ish reason, his build is pretty basic. You can see where all the pieces go. There's not a fancy secret technique. The only thing that could be considered, I don't know, interesting is this arm here, build-wise, and then his head. But we'll take a look at that. But he's basically just a Paraka. I think I would threaten to say that the Paraka are more interesting of a build. He's basically just a Paraka. Why don't we take a look at the instructions real quick? All the, kind of 2007, I believe it's just 2007, I could be wrong. Bionicle sets have very interesting portrait instruction manuals, which is very unique because when you open it, it's actually facing the kind of normal landscape way, and you can see the back of the instructions are super cool, very watery, and have the big city, which I don't even remember what it's called. If we flip to the end here, I'll show you how to use the Kordak cannon gun. And then here we have advertisement for Baraki, which I actually have all of them. And just some LEGO Club magazine stuff. I don't miss LEGO Club magazine so much. And here you can see the other Toa Mahri, which I actually don't have any of because comparatively they are quite expensive. I got some Bionicle, a lot of Toa for $4, $47, maybe $15. But from what I've seen, the Mahri are way more expensive, $20, $30, which I find very interesting. They are a lot of times considered fan faves, especially Toro. So I can kind of see why they would do that. Alright, why don't we get into them? We've been talking about them for 3 minutes. Just let's get in there. Alright, so he has a very weird color scheme. He's basically, I don't even know, construction color. He's black. He's the Toa of Stone, which is kind of weird. Toa of Stone. And he has a color scheme of silver, black, and yellow, with a little bit of red for some reason. Here he is standing up perfectly straight. Here he is next to Tahu. You can see a little bit taller, as expected, because he's basically just a Paraka. You can see he has the very odd Bionicle proportions. His arms are actually longer than his legs by quite a lot. And his hands almost go down to his feet. He really uses guerrilla tactics when standing. Kind of weird. And he gets a lot of flack. I would argue he is one of the most hated Bionicle figures. Besides Good Guy. Hewkii's not that bad in my opinion. He just has a hole in his soul. But I think this guy gets mistreated a lot. He's unique, you know? So here we can take a look at him a little bit more. You can see he has a super long arm with this chain. The chains are very weird. I don't know why they went for chains. It has a very edgy 2000s feel. It is from the 2000s, but it just, what does it have to do with stone, you know? He has a super cool spear. Yeah, it's a spear, which poses up pretty nicely. You can do all sorts of crazy things, and one thing I like is you don't have to deconstruct it to take it out of his hand and look at it. It can just be held and used by other figures. Like you can just give it to Tahu if you want. Pretty cool. I like it when they do that. I wish they did that a little bit more. Yeah, it's especially bad in the reboot, where it's like you literally have to like rip it apart to take it out of their hands. I really don't like it when they do that. I feel like that's something they handled pretty well during this time period. You can see he has some extra bullets on his shoulder. He has his like oxygen tube leads to his mouth. That's pretty cool. I like that. When I make mocks, I don't have too many mocks, but when I do, I always like having these crazy tubes and stuff hanging out of weird places, and I don't know, I feel like it really completes the biomechanical look. And it's very weird how it attaches. Most of the other Toa Mahri, it would like connect here. I bet at one point, honestly, he had 2 tubes, and they went into here, because these aren't really used for anything in the set. I bet at one point the tubes went into... What did that say? Did I say my phone's about to... My camera about to overheat? What the heck? Hold on, guys. What does this say? I don't know what that means. My camera sets on fire. It's not my fault. But I can assure you almost at one point that the tubes were going to go into there, because he actually uses an extra piece to attach it, which is very different from every other set. See, he has one of these weird beams that sticks into his mouth, and his mask is actually one of the only like helmets in Bionicle. I just ripped his brain out. You can see the spike does come off, but it's very different from every other Bionicle mask, and actually you can use it as like armor and stuff. I'm sure a lot of people recognize it from Jang's Rainbow Man. Can't remember his name. Yeah. Especially on mine. Wow. The color of his head is really weird because they melded. Melding back in the day was kind of crazy, and they did not perfect it. You can see that mixing black and yellow makes this very weird green. I think it looks kind of cool. I think it's one of the most earthy things about him. It looks very natural, and it kind of looks like seaweed. It's something you would find in kind of a darker coral reef. It's a little ugly, and it doesn't match anything else. I think it would have been cool if he had more armor or something, like a chest piece, something more that matched that. Because as is, it's like the only thing. I find it kind of cool. It kind of has the same vibes as like Karapar, but it's just exclusively on his head, so it looks really weird. And he obviously has red eyes. A little red spike. Kind of weird. Choices for this guy are very bizarre. He uses Knight's Kingdom. I think, yeah, Knight's Kingdom. Mace pieces, or I guess flail pieces, for his armor, which is, again, very weird choice. I think that's pretty cool and creative. Doesn't match anything. It doesn't really match anything on his body, but it's kind of a theme here. And this arm, this is where the most criticism comes from. First of all, it's incredibly heavy, so he can't really hold it. He'll either fall forward or his arm will fall. You can only really do a 90-degree bend at the elbow like that, which is kind of annoying. And he again has the chain, but he has these really big swords, and he can barely articulate because of these big swords, and they look really weird. Again, like he has his legs are spiky, he has spiky feet, spiky thighs, really weird and exposed mechanical torso. Same thing with this arm. Then he has this arm, which is very smooth and simultaneously has these really big swords. There's just not a lot of visual cohesion there. And he again has the extra ammo, but then he has this monstrosity. He doesn't have a hand, which, you know, if you squint, doesn't look too bad. If you're a Bionicle fan, it looks weird because it looks like a wrist. It just looks like a wrist. And it's not like he got his hand chopped off in the story. His hand just disappears magically when he goes underwater. I don't know, it just disappears. And he has a cannon, which I actually think looks pretty cool. Kordak blaster, what you do. It's very cool. I'll probably show it off from different angles. If you press this button rather rapidly, you put your, to quote LJ, you put your 2 index fingers here, and you just go to town. Most of the time it'll work pretty well if you're forceful with it. It does not work underwater, which I think is kind of funny that this is the underwater year. And this is one of the only launchers that doesn't work underwater, besides the what is it called? Midax? The blaster after this, which is just like a big tube that shoots balls. But yeah, it doesn't work. It uses air and does not work underwater at all. Here it is. Ah, frick. Don't shoot at your face. I lost one of the bullets. Oh no. That's very sad. I'm sure I'll find it. I heard it somewhere. You can see it looks pretty cool. Very, very epic. And I think it's a cool design. It does rust and mess up very easily. But I still think it has some intuitive aspects that are pretty cool. And we're almost done with the review here. Why don't we take a look at the articulation. Oh, yeah, see, this arm is very frustrating. So legs, super standard. He has the feet, which can go forward and back quite a bit, and tilt quite a bit. Great, the Bionicle joints have great design. He can go that way a little bit, and then his knee has a really deep bend, so you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. You can get real low to the ground and look real creepy. His thighs are pretty good. Splay out quite a bit, rotate back and forth quite a bit. His legs, I think, are perfect in the articulation department. This arm, not so bad. You can see the crack, kind of spooky, but the chain gets stuck on his foot. It's literally inside of his foot right now. There we go. But he can almost T-pose on you. You're going to be bending those a little bit. But this is designed to wiggle, which could be annoying, but it's kind of nice because it moves out of the way. And his elbow here is pretty good. You can go that way a little bit, and then the proper way it can again get a really good above 90-degree bend there. Hand, same as the foot. Really good stuff. He can rest his blade over his shoulder if he wants. This arm sucks, does not exist. It can go up that much, can rotate, which is nice. But with the blaster, oh, look at that. Most of the time it doesn't hold. It's working really well right now. That's awesome. Okay, cool. 90-degree bend there. Whoops. And then 90-degree bend in the other direction, or almost 90-degree bend. That's it. This cannon can very easily come off. His head down, up a little bit. Down's really good. And side to side's okay. I think it actually works pretty well, surprisingly. Just can't look up. A lot of people complain about his head. I feel like it's not quite as bad. He can't tilt his head at all. But I feel like I think feeling is for the weak. I think his left to right head motion is pretty good, actually. It's just these right here are really annoying. So that was my review of good old Toa Hewkii. I think he's an interesting case. He's one of the more hated Bionicle figures. I think he's not too bad, honestly. He's very quirky, and even though his build is painfully similar to the Paraka, he even uses the same right arm. He's basically just a Paraka with extra crap and a different left arm. But besides that, he visually looks very unique and stands out a lot on a shelf. I put him next to like Hydraxon and the Baraki. He stood out like crazy. It's partially because he's an eyesore. He's yellow and red and black. But he's also very different visually. He has spikes, weird blades, this weird head. It's very unique. It kind of looks like a manta ray. All in all, very unique figure. I'll throw up his original price. I don't know it off the top of my head. I think that's okay. Little tiny bit pricey. His new price, resale price, I think is great. I don't know how much he was exactly, but I've seen him several times around just in the area for like $4, $7, cheaper than his original retail price before inflation. I don't know why I can't talk all of a sudden. So I think he's pretty cool, actually. And again, a lot of times he's pretty cheap, so I would recommend him. If you're a big Bionicle collector and you bought all of the Hewkii and you bought all the like really repetitive things and you just feel like every set is the same, then I think he'll be an interesting visual change of pace. So that's all I have to say. It's kind of a long video, but all my videos are kind of long. That's just, what can I say? Alright, peace out.